A lot of people believe when they read the stories about slavery done to the Israelites happened over 3,400 years ago, when in fact Exodus is a modern day story. Why? Because Christ himself is a modern day character, and he goes by the name of Moses. How do we know? Let's read. Let's watch.
First to be released, this rider is believed to be a personification of disease and pestilence to conquer it.
Notice they use a disease and said everybody's going to die due to it, and they created slavery, in a sense, a couple of years ago.
In this case means to take over with disease, bringing death to everyone he infects. Next rides the Red Horseman of the Apocalypse, who wields a fiery sword and brings death through strife and warfare. This will supposedly be a time in human history when men are crazed with bloodlust and the entire globe is plunged into war and chaos.
So right after the 19, they're talking about a major world war.
Then comes the Black Horseman of the Apocalypse, the personification of famine. Disease and war were not enough to kill most of the population, and so famine comes next to destroy crops and bring starvation. The Fourth Horseman
speaks about that in Exodus when it happens to the lands of Egypt. Why? Because if you're under the Roman calendar, you're literally in modern day Egypt.
Pale steed, and is meant to represent death itself. He is the only horseman without a weapon, since he's a weapon himself. Number 8, the plague.
Remember, the last plague was the plague of death. Hence, it will happen during the times of Revelation, because Exodus is a modern day story.
Of Revelation. Those who have no faith in God and worship false idols are sent 7 plagues at the end of days. The first
7 plagues, just like in Exodus. So as you can clearly see in Luke 9, verse 33, Jesus, Moses, and Elijah are together at the same time. Then Moses, the son, is in the clouds with Elijah, and Jesus was found alone. Why? Because Jesus is not an angel like his Father, who is the angel of the Lord, and that's the title of Christ. But who is the Father of Christ, the King of Kings?
He became governor of the province. In 1928, he led the troops that killed Empress Zarditu's husband, who was not of royal blood, and became regent. He became emperor on November 2nd, 1930, and was crowned Haile Selassie I, King of Kings, King of Zion.
Conquering lion.
Conquering lion of the seed of Judah.
Because the isms of Judah have been lying for years. For example, they got you thinking in a white Jesus, when in fact,
this is why the 2,000-year-ago Jesus Christ is false. First, the Bible has no dates. Second, Christ comes in the last days to fulfill prophecy. As is mentioned in Isaiah 2, verse 2 and 3. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob. And he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And third, a crafty council was set up to change times and laws, as is mentioned in Daniel 7 and 25. And he shall speak against great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws.
See, by creating the Old and New Testament format, they try to change time by having you believe that present-day characters died thousands of years ago. For example,
as their forgeries have deceived them, even about their own religion, they weren't even named in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John until the end of the 2nd century. Now back to my original question. Why don't you Muslims just read the New Testament? Did you know that there were several Christian denominations in the first 3 centuries that did not believe Jesus was crucified? A fraction of their scriptures have been found in Nag Hammadi in 1945. Why were they buried there? Because shortly after the church synods at Nicaea and Constantinople in 325 and 381 in the Common Era respectively, any Christian community that did not dance to the Trinitarian tune was subsequently exterminated and the scriptures burned. Many of these communities went underground and buried their scriptures in this.
Therefore, Ethiopia does not follow BC or AD on their calendar, because they know Christ is a modern day character. So now they plan to use the weather as a ploy to enslave people. Hence, we're going to need a Moses.
Let's get to the source. UAE heavy rains, thunder and more. Inside the NCM's cloud seeding missions. What is a cloud seeding? Cloud seeding is a type of weather modification that aims to change the amount or type of precipitation, mitigate hail, or disperse fog. What does that mean? So let's put it super simple. They send up an airplane that puts little things into the clouds that attract the water, and afterwards the water is coming down as rain. This is how the airplanes look like. But what does that have to do with Abu Dhabi? This picture is taken at the control room of the NCM, the National Center of Meteorology in Abu Dhabi. That is where they start the cloud seeding operations for the whole UAE and the surrounding area. So next time there's a lot of rain in the UAE, you know where it's coming from, and this is how it looks. Look at this.
They're creating the storms and then blaming global warming.
Christ's job is to
Set the captain.
Christ's job is to lead you to the Father. That's his job.
Isn't Christ a black man? This is the generation that doesn't believe a black man can bring redemption, and
Set the captive free. Set the captive free. Set the captive free.
unless he does televised miracles, as Bob Marley said,
Set us another brother Moses.
Right? Moses is Christ. And that's what we need in these times. But they keep changing up the story and telling you that the Son of Man is the father of creation. Hello.
But I'm asking my Christian learned brothers, I said, look, when he preached the gospel, did he have Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, Romans, Corinthians, Galatians, Corinthians under his arm? The book? No, he didn't have any book with him. There was no Matthew, book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, nothing was there. So what did he preach? What he preached was the gospel. His message was the gospel. What you have now in these books here are called the Gospel according to St. Matthew, the Gospel according to St. Mark, the Gospel according to St. Luke, the Gospel according to St. John. According.
Hello. Blasphemy at its highest degree. Just like this. Thanks to Judaism and the long white Jesus paintings throughout the world, this is what's happening now.
Not a man shall well in your pride. Well, and it was written, we love him. Well, I said, well in your pride. Did you know the parent?
Now you see why Jah gets haircuts. And he never told you as a man to grow your hair forever. It makes no sense. That's a lot of weight on your brain. Hello.